What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Backpacking Podcast. John Kelly here, and unfortunately tonight, Jeremiah's here too. So
Let's go.
You didn't skip out on us tonight, man. You're here.
We're back, baby. Let's do it.
Are. Hey, so I'm gonna let you in on something. I haven't talked a lot about it because it's something that I've struggled with for a while, and it's something that I don't like to draw a lot of attention to because I've done it in the past and then it's not gone well, and then I'm eating crow and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to do that. But hey, so I think I told you this beforehand, but in the past month, and this is not a joke, month and a few days, I've lost 32 pounds.
Wow, dude. That's so incredible. It's awesome.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I'm actually seeing a doctor now, that's helping me with the weight loss, and it's having a huge impact. It's helping a ton. I got the goal to get the weight down pretty low by next summer because I've got a few hikes that I've got a buddy of mine that wants to do, and I don't think I can do it as a fat boy. So I'm gonna have to lose the weight so I can do those things.
That's good motivation, man. You did it, if I remember correctly, doing Kilimanjaro. That kind of pushed you toward cutting some weight, getting really healthy, and just having the ability to actually climb up there.
Yeah, I did it, but I didn't go as far as I should have. So I got a long ways to go, but my wife is doing it with me. She's lost over 20 pounds. So
Wow.
You know how hard it is for women to lose weight compared to men, it's just one of those things. And she has lost over 20 pounds. So she's doing killer. And it's always easier to do this when your spouse is doing it with you. So really excited about that, man. Plus I want to lose more weight than that hiking guy. So
Oh, THG.
throwing it out there, Chris. Throwing it out there. So, anyways, we've got a great guest tonight, man. Great guest.
Yeah, dude. I just did a trip with this guy, and I couldn't wait to have him on so that we could talk about the trip and get to know him a little bit better and tell you about the trip, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Also, at the end of tonight's episode, we have to let everybody know. Jeff Garmeyer and I talked after the episode last week, and Jason Wish was there, so there are witnesses to this, and we have a certain requirement for Jeremiah because he didn't have merch by the next time that Jeff Garmeyer showed up. So we're going to be sharing what that challenge is for Jeremiah for next week at the end of the podcast. So stick around for that because I promise you're not going to want to miss what Jeff says that Jeremiah has to do. So we got a lot of good stuff for tonight, but the biggest thing is we're bringing on a good friend of the show and somebody who's never been on here, and I'm still not sure how we pulled that off because this is one of those guys that his personality jumps off the screen, whether it's in photo or video. I mean, he's just a ball of energy, and I cannot wait to have him on here, and that is our good friend, Mr. Andrew Miller, also known as Metro on the Move. Dude, you got to do the point. You got to do the point.
What's going on, guys?
There it is.
Oh, man. Welcome to the show. Let's keep moving, baby. All right.
Yeah, let's keep moving. Thank you so much for having me here, and congratulations to you, man. That's an incredible weight loss journey, my friend. Congratulations on the 32 pounds.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. I was actually wondering what the wait list was like to get on the show. I was like, is it going to be me soon? No. Is it going to be me soon? No. Is it going to be me soon? No. I was like, I'm doing something wrong here. I got to do something right. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like Jeremiah reaches out. He's like, you want to go camping? I'm like, yeah. You want to be on the show? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, is it Christmas? I'm on the show. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is there are so many people we haven't had on here, and it's not because we don't want to. We just forget people. And and we don't forget you as a person. We just forget to ask you to be on the show. We've got so many people that have sent us messages and go, hey, dude, you ought to have this person on. And we're like, oh my gosh, have we never thought of that? And Jeremiah goes, hey, I'm going hiking with Metro. We should have him on the show. So Jeremiah's the one that made that happen, man. He's the man.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. It was awesome hanging out. It was a great adventure out on the AT. That was an incredible trip. I can't wait to talk about it today.
Yeah, dude. Well, first of all, let me see your T-shirt. What does that say? Pinhoti forever.
Pinhoti forever, baby. Yeah, right here. That's
Pinhoti Mafia.
Yeah,
well,
part of the
this
Pinhoti.
Is actually a shirt that was designed by J Ben Hikes, but the Pinhoti Outdoor Center actually put on a whole initiative to keep the Pinhoti Trail separate from the AT, and there's a reason for that. In case you guys didn't know,
That's
because
great
of
to
the
know.
yeah, the economic impact of the two trails that they were to connect on the AT. It might impact some of those trail towns that are about 300 miles in. So they was like, hey, let's keep it separate. It's good for everybody. It's got heritage behind both trails. There's no reason to connect it. Even though they do connect, they're going to keep them separate. So Pinhoti forever. POC, baby.
That is great. Well, I got to hike part of the Pinhoti a couple years ago with somebody we all know, Mr. Brad, also known as Crow. We went out there and he got me up on the Pinhoti for a few miles, and I read there's a plaque that actually shows the Pinhoti Trail, and that John Muir who actually wanted the two trails to connect?
I'm not actually sure. I think there's actually a commission of people that are actually trying to connect it, and there's a commission that's not. But I'm not sure if John Muir was the OG in terms of trying to connect the two.
Yeah.
But obviously there's some people that feel very differently about connecting them. So
Oh yeah.
I'm on team Pinhoti forever.
It's funny. I
So
just said Crow's name, and there he is right there for us all to see.
What
Mr.
up,
Brad
Crow?
Crow, how are we doing, man? All right, so let me ask you something, man. There are not a lot of um, Georgia backpackers online. Now I know there's a lot of Georgia backpackers, but you don't see a lot of them doing videos and all this kind of stuff. And technically, I mean, you're actually a California boy, if I remember right.
That's correct. So I was born in Newport Beach, but I've been around the world, and now I'm here in the Southeast. So I'm a Southern boy. I'm married to a Southern belle. So I consider myself a Southern gentleman. Either Southern California or South Georgia. It's the same thing, you know.
So how did you get into doing the YouTube thing? How did you get into doing these videos? Because you've been doing them a while. I met you last
Yeah.
year, and I realized after we met, I went back onto your channel. I'd watched it before, but I hadn't gone back very far, and I realized, man, you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. So 2015 was when I really started like documenting my adventures or travels. I remember my name is Metro because I'm from the city and I go out to the mountains or various different destinations. But a buddy of mine, he passed away suddenly. We were just hanging out and he had a heart attack and died right in front of me. And it kind of made me realize very quickly how fragile life was. So I started going out to the mountains and I was like, hey, I'm already documenting my travels. Why don't I take my GoPro with me on trail? And then I just started filming all these various different places that I would like to go hiking because I found it very difficult. To your point, there's not a lot of backpackers that go and do this, so I had to find all these trails, through the internet and various different resources of where the cool trailheads were and stuff. And I got this abundance of knowledge. And actually, my name came a little bit from the trail, for me coming up to the mountains so much. And people are like, hey, you know a lot about the mountains. Do you live around here? I was like, no, I'm from Buckhead. They're like, oh, you one of those metros that come up here. I was like, I'm gonna take
That's
that
great.
as a trail. I'm gonna take that trail name right there. I'm gonna take that right there. So it just kind of coincided. But my point is that I had to document these videos, put it out there on the internet. And to your point, there's not a lot of backpackers out there doing this, and I'm happy for that. But an adventure with Nick and Rachel, Southern Hike, as well as Senior Hiker 77, you got to give them a shout out. They've been doing a lot of videos as well. So shout out to all those people right there.
Oh yeah, great people. Hey, we do have an
Yeah.
answer to that question I was asking earlier. It was actually Benton Mackay. People say Benton Mackay intended them to contact, and that's from Leonidas on the trail. And Crow, it was Benton Mackay. So we were wondering who it was that was kind of the one spearheading that early on, and I guess it was Benton Mackay. So I knew it was one of those famous guys that does trails. Of course, they both have massive trails named after them, so that tells you the kind of backpackers they were.
dude, I'll just click. You were talking about, looking at Metro's channel and going back, and I sorted his videos from oldest to newest.
Oh my God. I left it out there. I mean, there's some fun stuff.
Can you put that on? Can we put that on the
Loved
screen,
it.
Jeremiah?
We can try to.
Can you load that up and see? Let me know
Yeah,
when you've shared that, and I'll put that up on the screen because we got to see like old school. Oh, here we
I
go.
love
Here
it.
we
I
go.
love it. Well, it's been around for a while for sure. 2010 maybe.
Let's see if we can do this right here.
it says 13 years ago was the
Yeah.
first video. Yeah, dude, you definitely
Hang
need
on,
to
we'll
keep.
try this again. I think I figured out what I got to do here. Let's pull these up. Here we go.
You definitely need to keep
Oh man,
all the old videos, dude, for sure. Like this one, destroying a
destroying a
desktop computer.
desktop computer.
What's it even
Yeah.
mean? Oh, he's
Look at this
literally
stuff.
just breaking a computer. Is that you?
Yeah, it's me hanging out in the warehouse. We had to get rid of a server. So
So you said, let me take this big this big piece of wood and just bust this computer up?
I mean, we had some free time. Yeah, I mean, you got to
Oh
get it
my
done. You got to get done
gosh.
with what you had. I didn't have anything else, so I figured this will work.
Wow, let's see what else you got here. We got
If you're
Japanese roll.
listening right now, we're actually on Metro's YouTube channel, and we're looking through some of these old videos. And he's like Metro's like a lot of people that they got a YouTube channel and just start putting up random videos of different things. So somewhere along the way, backpacking started taking over. So I can't wait to see where that happens.
Let me scroll
20.
down.
Yeah, just keep going. It goes. There's hundreds of videos on there. I probably close to 800 videos.
Were
Used to
you
be
in a
in band.
band?
Yeah,
Were you in a
yeah,
band?
yeah. Used to rock and roll on the Sunset Strip, baby. At
Oh,
the
dang, look at that.
Yeah, with the Roxy and the whiskey and all kinds of stuff out there, man. It was fun. Good times.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I had no
That was when I
idea
was,
you did that kind of stuff.
Look at the
that was
great
when I was
hair.
a kid. That was when I was a kid, man.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, see here you got the Sawyer Squeeze Smart Water Bottle hack. What's the hack?
It's not that great of a hack. You just basically
That's one of those things that was a hack like 8 years ago where like
Oh,
where
is
you
it?
put where you squeeze it right up or you screw it right onto the top
Yeah,
of the
I mean it's
bottle.
just how it connects. It's like you just connect it like with this little cap thing. I was like, perfect. It's great, you know.
Okay,
If it was
so
a hack then, it's not a hack now, I guess.
well, here's the thing. You two, along with some other friends, you guys got to go backpacking this past weekend, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest with you, I gotta know what happened because you guys were hiking on the Appalachian Trail, and saw some pictures that were posted, and a lot of raincoats in a few of the pictures. So
Oh my.
I need to know. Tell me the story of this trip that you guys went on this past weekend.
Well, we got actually two alternate starting points. So we got day 1, 2, and 3, right? Day
Yeah.
1 you start, day 3 you leave. So you only have 2 nights on trail. And the first day, we both like went 2 different directions, and we're planning to meet up later. And I got to tell you, if I were to describe this trip with 2 words, I would call it fun disaster. That's, I don't know. Andy, what do you think, dude? You think that's an appropriate name for the trip that we were on?
100%. We had some alternate routes that had to be spawned because we were in certain climate that was just like unpredictable at best. I mean, we were in a cloud that turned into just downpour, and then we were in the cold, and we were up at very high elevations, and we tried to go to a couple other trailheads and come in at different access points, but it didn't matter where you went. It was nonstop inclement weather, to say the least. But we did have a
Yeah,
great ending to this, though.
that's true. Okay,
You
I'll,
got
I'll
you got
start.
backpacking with Jason on here. It just simply says stupid cloud cover. So
Oh,
I'm assuming Jason was with you guys.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's say who the characters are here in the story. You got me and Metro, of course.
hmm And you have As the Crow Flies hiking, Southern
Nice.
Hike, and backpacking with Jason. Now, Jeremiah and Jason were in one car. Southern Hike was in another car. And Crow and I were in 2 different cars, but then we got in one car and then went to one spot to meet up with the other 2. So you see how confusing it already starts out? We're all kind of
Yeah.
like, let's meet up at this spot. So I met up with Crow really early. In fact, Crow went out very early the night before, spent the night out there, and I met him at a trailhead. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Byron Reese. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go ahead and give locations and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
We went up the Byron Reese trailhead. I dropped my car, got with Crow, went over to Hogpen Gap, and then we decided to go down to Ravencliff Falls and go do a hike in and out, only about 5 miles or so. Really great spot to check out. In fact, there's multiple waterfalls and great places to camp on trail, as well as, well, I'll get to that later. Anyway, as we're out there, we scrambled to the top of this mountain and we noticed that the rain is just starting to come in. But we're like, you know what? We're going to go for it. So we run down the hill, get back to the car, get up to the trailhead, and that's when I get a phone call from Backpacking with Jason. So Jeremiah, I'm gonna let you jump in here.
Great. I'll tell you what happened up to the point where where Jason called Metro. Oh
Yep.
my gosh. This is so fun telling the alternate storylines. So Jason and I, we got there and we was like, well, it looks like they're giving rain. There's no reason to get in a hurry because we're just going to be walking in the rain and we're literally going to be climbing up and down these puds, basically. It's hard terrain out there in Georgia. Yeah. So we said, let's go get a coffee, local coffee shop at a trail town nearby. And then we said, well, it's 10 o'clock. We might as well start heading toward the trail. And so we headed up to Neil's Gap, and there's a store up there, and it was still raining. So I guess they were in a different location, and it wasn't raining at the time. But on us, it was spitting pretty much all day. So Jason and I went in the store. One of the employees talked me into buying new shoes, which I really needed new shoes because I still was using my ones. On the last 3 or 4 trips, I've been using my shoes that I had done the entire Camino in. So they
Oh,
were beat,
wow.
busted, and there's like 3 or 4 rips on both shoes. There's no tread on the bottom. But I'd
Okay,
only
first
use
I gotta say something before we go too far with this.
Okay, go ahead.
Jeff Peters just posted the funniest thing ever. He goes, "Don't you guys ever put out a how to plan a backpacking trip video."
Sometimes the plan's got to change, and this one changed about. Well, I think we were on plan G by the end or plan H.
Yeah.
Undisaster.
That's
So I
awesome.
buy some new shoes, and we hang out at this Neil's Gap place where everybody throws their shoes in the tree. And then Jason and I are like, why are we going to go 6 miles away and then hike back to here whenever we could just walk 1 mile this direction? We were on the other side of the campsite. We were on the west side, but we'd planned on starting east of the camp and walking west. If that makes any sense. It was 6 miles one way, 1 mile the other. And we was like, well, let's just do the 1 mile. It's raining. So we went up there and set up and then walked down to the water source, bone dry. And then Jason called Metro because there was no water up there. And we still had Taylor and Metro and Crow coming in to the same campsite we were already set up at. And we'd already set everything up. So Jason decided to call Metro. And what happened from there?
So I was like, hey, maybe I'll check out the water sources on trail. I'll give you a call. I'll let you know. But we're going to go ahead and start here because we wanted to catch some views before the clouds rolled in. So again, we're going to meet them at camp, and I was going to give them a call to let them know if any of the water sources were available. And if they were, I would maybe camel some in. I had an extra little knock bladder, knock bladder, whatever you call it. And I was going to just haul that in. Well, Crow and I go up to the AT. We actually cut over towards the Whitley Gap shelter. Got an excellent view of Cow Rock Mountain before the clouds started to really kind of come in. And we started getting some, getting spit on a little bit. We're like, you know what? We're hiking, whatever. We get a little bit, blah, blah, blah. So we're going down the trail, and it starts getting a little bit
Can
more
you repeat
crazy.
that real quick? Can you do that? I'm just kidding.
Whatever. Let's get it away.
Let's go get in the water.
I'm just going hike. I'm a hiker, whatever. So you get on trail, and we start noticing the clouds are starting to really come in. We're like, oh, that's kind of beautiful. Look how it's like filling into the valleys and it's starting to creep up on the ridge line. We're like, oh, that's really cool. And I don't know if you saw on Crow's Instagram, but the clouds actually came over and looked like the mist from like Stephen King. And I was like, oh man, this ain't good. We're walking into something bad, And it's not really easy. Okay, from Hogpen, you go down to Tesnity, up to Cow Rock, and it's like boom, boom, boom. We're going through it. We're like, okay, there's clouds coming in. There's no water. All the water sources are dried up on my side. And at this point, I called Jason, and I can't believe what Jason and Jeremiah had to do was they had to camel up, but in a different way. Jeremiah, you want to chime in here, and then I'll jump back in?
Sure. So we get off the phone with Metro, and he says what he's going to do. He just told you his plan.
Yep.
And Jason and I were on our own until that afternoon. So we said, well, we got 2 choices. We either can stay here and not have any water, or we can walk back to the place where we entered at Neil's Gap at the store and just buy water there, or if they have water spigot, which they did, and fill up, and then hike back hill. The entire way is uphill from the start of the store to the campsite. Campsite's at, I don't even know if that's the top of the hill. That's just where I stopped. But it's like 1.5 miles all uphill. So we went down to the store and then went right back up the hill and then waited on them to get there. And then in the meantime, we were kind of texting Taylor, or at least I was. And I was like, hey, man, can you take a call? There's no water source here. Because I was thinking maybe he could, bring us in a gallon of water or something. Strong, fit guy. So then Jason and I just sat at camp, gathered some firewood and stuff, and waited on everybody to get there. What did you all do, Metro?
So we rolled into camp. We're like, oh man, that mist is crazy. And they're like, oh, look, the sun's coming out. We're like, oh, isn't that nice? It looked like it was burning off for a second. And then all of a sudden the clouds just kind of circled around. So we're about 4,000 feet up. And it just felt like this constant haze, and it just started dewing up. We're like, oh, that's kind of nice. The dew's just rolling off the trees. But we had a great time. We had a good fire, good conversation, dinner, and all that. And we got to be up till about, hike or midnight, which is what, 9 or so. And then the weather changed immediately. It went from a little dewy action, like, oh, we were hikers hanging out in the woods, a little rain. It was like the skies opened up, and it was just like downpour. So we're all like jumping in the tents, like,
okay, Metro,
like left and right, like.
Listen, man. I have to tell you this. This is hilarious. Jeff Peters said what I've been thinking ever since that first time. So, Metro's next video, Adam Sandler goes backpacking. What do you think?
Hey, man.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
This is me every given Sunday. I'm just going out in the woods having a good time. I do this all the
You're
time.
cracking me up, man. It kind of feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie because it's like all these stories that are separate, that are coming from different angles, and they all come together at the end. So,
put Jason's most recent comment up there if you can find it, and I'll fill you in on a little something.
It says, Jeremiah, don't forget about the wildfires.
Dude, if you rewind about, I don't know, an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half from, Neil's Gap, if you rewind, on the way there, Jason and I drove through literal forest fires. Like it was on fire. The entire mountainside was on fire, and we were driving through it. And dude, they said it hadn't rained there in like 2 or 3 weeks. It was so dry. And when I say driving through it, I literally mean, dude, the entire woods is on fire. Like on the way home, it had rained for, multiple days straight. And I still saw open flames on the way home. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Well, I thought at first that, I didn't know if it was the mist that he was talking about, like the clouds rolling in. I didn't know if it was the smoke from the forest fire, because we smelled it, for miles and miles after we were away from those woods that were on fire. And it wasn't very far as the crow flies, to where we were camping at. I could only think, as a local and you living around there, you're just like, I hope the wind don't change this way and the forest fire gets our house. Be very.
Yeah. Well, Terry Young Outdoors is saying that Alabama actually has a fire ban right now. So if you were out backpacking, you wouldn't be able to do a fire.
Yeah, I'd believe it. But going back to, our first night. So before we went to bed and everything, Jason and I had both hammocked and everybody else was in a tent. So we had 3 tenters, right? And then we had 2 hammockers. And dude, for a few hours at least, we sat around the fire. We made a good fire. And this just thick, dense fog rolled in, and it was like living in a cloud. And I went to my hammock, like we all went separate ways, and I was asleep, by 10 o'clock. Everybody's tired, you traveled. And I got to my hammock. My tarp was set up, but I had left my doors open, and a little bit of rain had blew in, but we were in such a mist that I unzipped my hammock, and there was a pool of water just sitting there in the bottom at 4,000 feet. It's 42 degrees out. It's not getting any warmer, and we're just 100% humidity, 100%. And I said, well, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I had my underquilt protector. You know what I'm talking about, John?
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The dew would pull up on it and then run onto my underquilt. So even that didn't keep it totally dry. So like the top half of the
Wow.
winter quilt totally soaked whenever I got up the next morning. But yeah, I got in the hammock. Everybody else went to their tent. And Metro, was it any drier inside the tents?
No, because of the condensation. So not only was it wet on the outside, but once you were in there just breathing it for like an hour, it was almost like raining on the inside. So you got your hot breath raining on you, you know, then you got rain on the outside. It was totally soaked on the inside for sure. All of my gear got soaked.
Man,
Well,
and
John's
here's the thing, if especially with hammocks because of how they're set up, unless you're using one of the, like those Winter Dream hammocks, that close on both ends and go almost all the way to the ground, you got no chance in that kinda mist. Because I mean, it's just
yeah. There's nothing
hiking
you
and
can do.
it's that kinda thing where you're hiking and you don't realize, but you're getting soaked and it's not even raining.
Yeah,
Soaked to
you're
the
just
bone,
walking.
baby.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But then the next morning, we got up. John's posting the comments on here. It looks like there's fire bans all over the place right now. It's been so dry.
It has
But
been.
we got up the next morning and, I had no set time to get up, but everybody went to bed so early. We were all waking up, 6:30. I think I woke up about 6:30 and then I heard them, talking out there, but we were still, the weather wasn't good. And I
Cold.
was like, yes, cold, dreary. And I said, I gotta get out of here,
Well,
So,
that's the thing about, like, temperatures in the 40s, it's not cold enough to freeze.
mhm,
So you get wet in that stuff, it's just miserable. At least when it gets like in freezing temperatures, typically you're dealing with snow and it doesn't like float upwards. So you're pretty safe, but man, those 40-degree temperatures and the misting and all of that, I think that's worse than rain in my opinion.
yeah, it's my kryptonite. And I guess the tent guys, I just lay back in my hammock and I rewatched. I'd missed the UK game. There's a UK basketball game, and I missed it because I was hanging out, having fun with my friends. And I went back and rewatched the highlights, like a 20-minute video. Yeah, I was up, Jason. Jason said,
I
"There's
was
no way
waiting
I
for
was up
someone to
at
put that on the
6:30."
screen.
Yeah, yes, I was awake. I was laying there in my hammock. I put my
Okay,
headphones
okay,
on.
for
I could
people
take
who are listening right now and going, "Why is Jeremiah losing his mind?"
Just
Backpacking
relaxing.
Mr. Backpacking with Jason Sir just posted from the trip this past weekend that there was no way that Jeremiah was up at 6:30 AM. And I can tell you from backpacking with Jeremiah that um I'll be surprised if he was up at 6:30, but I mean, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because we're friends.
Well, maybe I got the time wrong.
You gotta
I don't
say it.
know.
You gotta say it in Jason's voice, though. There's no way Jeremiah was up at 6:30. No way.
Maybe it was 7:50. I don't know, but it was early. It was early for
7:50.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was early for me.
Same time basically.
Well, I decided to watch those UK highlights. You can watch, a YouTube video of them, and they take out all the commercials and everything. So it's only like 20, 25 minutes long. So I laid and watched that, and I looked up and I heard like a little bit of racket, and the tents were just gone, and somebody was shaking a ground sheet, and I was like, what happened? And then I looked around, and Jason was talking to Metro and Crow and Taylor had arrived, at some point. He got there later. They just vanished. I was still laying in my hammock, and I didn't know if Jason and I were going home or what our plan was. I just knew I was soaking wet. I mean, everything was soaked. And so the guys just left me. And, I slowly got out of my hammock, made some coffee. Well, where were y'all going?
Good. Yeah, so here's the segue. So we got up. We're like, hey, look, they're gonna be down in a minute. Let's go ahead and go down to Neil's Gap. Mountains Crossing is the name of the store. It's got like amenities, got coffee, it's got all kinds of things to do while you're waiting for the
It
rest of your
has
crew to go. You want to get a hot meal, buy some stuff, whatever. So we roll down the hill and we get there, and I actually bought something new. I actually got something at Neil Gap while I was waiting for Jeremiah, and I can't wait to show everyone. You guys ready
Oh,
to see it?
is this what we saw right before the show started?
It is. Is
Oh,
everyone ready?
bring it out. Bring it out.
Oh yeah, baby. It's my new hat. Hiker trash, baby. Yeah. What? Give it to me. On one side it says trash. On one side it says hiker. but I like to just let them know what's coming. Trash, baby.
I love that, man. And I also love the earth tones, like the clothes that he was wearing. So, do you just really love green? Is that the
No, I
deal?
just so
Because
happen to be with the colors that I don't know how you guys buy gear, but this is how I buy gear, right? I go and buy the stuff that's on sale, right? And the stuff
yeah,
that people don't necessarily want. It just so happens that I just don't pay attention to how much stuff I'm buying is green. So then I become the green machine. Like I think I was green pants, green sun shirt, green melanzana, green pinhoti mafia, whatever,
this man,
green machine.
this man walks up. He's got orange shoes, green pants, a green melanzana,
Yep.
and he takes off the melanzana, same color green shirt right under there. He is totally green. I start calling him Oscar the Grouch, man. I mean,
I'd probably go more Kermit the Frog or Yoda.
yes. Oh, Yoda, that would have been good.
Yes,
The
very
hat,
nice. Yes.
the hat matches though the earth tones, man. It looks good. That's clean.
Maybe I'll keep this hat on though. I just was wearing my orange because that's what I'm used to. But I'll wear this right here. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
Did you have that? Did you have that orange hat on whenever you almost got shot by those hunters?
Actually, I did have that hat on, and they did almost shoot me. I can't believe that was a near miss just recently, actually.
Could have saved your life,
So
man.
wait a
That
second.
orange.
Hold up. You can't just like gloss over that. Like,
Wait a minute. You guys
what?
ain't from the city. I'm usually almost getting shot at on a regular, man. I'm Metro.
Okay,
No,
but I want to
no
hear. I
problem.
want to hear the story of this. Right, you've got to tell this story. You can't just like gloss over that and go, okay, let's move on to the next thing. I want to hear about
All right.
this.
So I'm on the Foothills Trail, and I'm about halfway through. I don't know, maybe mile 40 to 50, somewhere in that radius. I think I had just gone over Heartbreak Ridge or something like that, so maybe over 50. And as I'm like walking through the woods, I hear this one dog like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was all like, whoa, 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 what is that? And I was like, oh, there's dogs out here. I was like, that sounds like they're running loose. Then I saw the dog, and the dog turned around and like called his boys. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I was like, oh no. And two more dogs started rolling up, and I was like, oh, it's only three, and they seem pretty nice. And then I heard like 27 other dogs, like 30 dogs start running. And then I start seeing these guys with guns, like having it out there. Oh, we thought you were a bear. We were about to shoot you. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, well, I've got my orange hat on, and I've got this orange little thing on my pack. And he was all like, yeah, you could probably wear a little bit more. And I was like, well, did you guys really almost shoot me? He's like, yeah, but we got to look at you first. You were definitely in our scope, but we didn't shoot you because you got to make sure that a bear is a certain size before you pull the trigger. But you were definitely in our scope, so we almost did take a crack shot at you because we definitely thought you were a bear. And I was like, oh, but I'm wearing all green.
He's the jolly green guy. That's fun.
I'm just trying to think what bear wears an orange hat.
A fashionable one.
I guess so, man. I
Right.
guess so.
Yeah. One is.
Terry Young Outdoors says, well, you are in the mafia, so
Yeah, man. If you don't know, the Pinhoti Mafia is for real, dude. We got that shit on lock, man. I'm telling you right here. Pinhoti Mafia, Alabama Triple Crown. If you don't know, now you know. Check it out. Alabama Triple Crown, baby.
What is the Alabama Triple Crown?
Okay, for those that are watching this episode that do not know what the Alabama Triple Crown is, As the Crow Flies Hiking founded the Alabama Triple Crown, which is 3 hikes, 3 days, 60 miles, has to be done consecutively. It's the Pin-Chin Sky Loop. That's about 20 miles. You can run over to the Pinhoti Outdoor Center, spend the night there, get up in the morning, go to Oak Mountain, do the loop there. That's roughly 20 miles as well. And then you dart up to the Sipsey, and you do about 20 plus miles out there. So give or take, it averages 60 miles plus side trails, all that. 3 trails, 60 miles, 3 days, Alabama Triple Crown. Hashtag that. You can find out all about it or on hikersofamerica.com.
Wow. So do you automatically become part of the Pinhoti Mafia if you do the Alabama Triple Crown? Oh, you have to be. What do you get elected or something? How do you get in
it
there?
has to be unanimous vote. All of the members have to vote you in, and then you have to complete the Alabama Triple Crown. There's actually somebody that has been voted or nominated is the word. We have a nomination, and his name is Southern Hike or Taylor. I'm not going to say his last name. I don't know if he's supposed to do that on the internet. But anyway, Southern Hike, he's been nominated, but he's like, nah, man, I ain't doing that 60 miles. Are you kidding me? I got other things to do, man. That sounds crazy.
He's like, I just had a baby. Come on.
Yeah, he did have
dad.
a baby. Yeah, congratulations on your baby.
Yeah.
He did have a baby.
Yeah, man, y'all are wild people doing those challenges. They're not for me. I don't know, John. What do you say about just a quick 60 miles? Just real quick.
I'll tell you what. Ask me in about 6 or 8 months after I get some more of this weight off, because I was actually talking with Crow when he did the first one, and I was so close to wanting to go, but I just wasn't there to be able to do it well. I would have probably had to crap out like halfway through the second day or something. So I do want to do it. I'll just be honest. I've actually, Crow's talked to me about it multiple times. And so that is something I actually want to do, Jeremiah. I'm not going to lie to you. I like doing that kind of stuff though. The first thing I ever did backpacking was Mount Kilimanjaro. So I like the challenges. I like the long hikes. I think it's fun.
Right on. Hey, do you want to tell the rest of the story after Neil Gap? Because we met up at Neil Gap because Jason told Jeremiah, like, yo, they didn't just leave us. They went down to Neil Gap. Hold on. Jeremiah, no, they didn't leave us. We got to go down to Neil Gap. And then we're going to meet them there. That's what Jason said. And then we met up at Neil Gap. And then what happened from there?
Well, once we got to Neil Gap, there was a plan. So we had an original plan to camp at that spot, and then on day 2, what we're going to do, Blood Mountain.
Yep.
So
we're going to go up to Blood Mountain and then stay at Woods Hole and then cut back the Freeman Trail to Byron Reese and then go from there. But keep going.
So if we had stayed at the campsite and then went on to Blood Mountain, we would have had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 mile day, something like that, I think. And we would have camped. And then the next day had a very, very short hike out to the car so we could drive home. So we had to throw that plane in the trash because once we got to Neil Gap and it was still raining, and then we walked down to the cars, kind of rearranged some stuff. And then I said, here's what I would do. Here'd be my vote. If we go up Blood Mountain, we're going to go back into that cloud. So we don't need to do that. And that's Jason saying the same thing. And then I think we all knew that we couldn't do Blood Mountain. We had to come up with an alternate plan somehow. So I said, here's my vote. The guy at the shop, what's it called? Mountain Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
He named barbecue. He's like, well, there is barbecue about 6 miles down the mountain. And I said, that's my vote, baby. Let's go to that local Georgia barbecue. I mean,
that sounds like a good way to spend a wet day.
Bro, everything was soaking wet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
look,
you got the receipt with you?
It was Jim's Smoke and Q, and it was the 6th best barbecue in the country. They had that painted on the outside.
Remember that was country.
And they said you can smell their butts from a mile. That was what their slogan was.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was all about the pork butt. Their sauces, what were their sauces? It was like sweet butt or something like that, or like pork butt. I don't know. Everything.
And then they had the reserve butt too, man. The reserve butt. We were up there stinking it up for sure, though, up in the barbecue spot.
Oh yeah, dude.
You probably weren't the only ones, though. I would assume.
Well, this segues into poop. Let's talk about.
There you go. Yes.
We're getting to the poop talk. So everybody agrees. Let's go down and get some barbecue. So we all get in there, and it seemed like everybody got double portions. I mean, there's a lot of food. So we're sitting there, and there's one bathroom for this whole place, and every one of us. Well, I don't know about all of us, but there was a number of us in the group that all had to poop and knew we didn't want to poop in the rain up on top of the mountain. So we said, let's just wait, So we got down there, the one bathroom, there's a line and we were seated right next to the bathroom. So one by one, unfortunately, slowly, we just absolutely destroy the Jim's Smoking Q, or what did you say it was?
Hold on. It is Jim's Smoking Q.
Jim's Smoking
it,
Q.
Yeah, it's a 4971 Gainesville Highway for those that are watching this episode. If you go there, there's not a discount code, but say Metro and Jeremiah sent you, so we get our next plate for free. Keep going.
Did you utilize their facilities there?
I sure did, man. And I tell you what, right? There's something about hiking and excitement and camp food and junk food, and it just seems to like condense, right? And not only that, but you feel like it's time to let go of the past. I swear, I made myself cry when I was in there. I was so upset about the next person coming behind me, but it was funny to watch their faces when they came out because it was just like.
I went in there, man, and yeah, you're right about the junk food and all that. You go in there and you'll come back out a different man. You know, you'll be hungry. You walk out of that bathroom. You know, luckily you're in a restaurant.
But you come out looking like this.
Yeah, well, oh my gosh. Let me tell one on Crow. I hope he doesn't mind.
Crow, it doesn't matter if he does. It doesn't matter if he does. He went hiking with you. That was his first mistake, so he's okay.
So as the crow flies hiking, Brad is his name. Dude, he was the last to go. We had all finished our food, and for some reason he hadn't went to the bathroom yet.
Oh man,
and
poor guy.
So there's like 2 people in line for the bathroom, and he's like, no, I'll just wait. And I was like, dude, I don't think you understand. It's raining outside, and there are no more bathrooms between here and wherever we sleep tonight. This is the only temperature control. This is the only dry toilet paper. You know, this is the only chance to wash your hands. And everybody's like, yeah, go ahead, Crow. We'll wait on you. We all went. So Crow, I say, dude, just go get in line. Because at this point, there's several people in line. So everybody keeps going. The line keeps moving. There's like, he's like third in line. Then he's waiting, and he has to stand there for an uncomfortably long amount of time next to this lady while he's waiting on the bathroom. So, oh yeah, I waited behind 3 women to go number 2. Crow, I hope you don't mind me telling your story here. I'm going to tell it anyway.
No, go ahead. Go for it, man.
So Crow, he spends the entirety of the time trying to convince this woman to go into the bathroom before him, but he just cannot quite articulate specifically why the lady should go first. He's just trying to be courteous and be a gentleman. And I know I was here first, but go ahead, you know. But he doesn't want to say, well, we just spent the night in the woods and ate, you know, whatever, Mountain House or something. I don't remember. And he's going to hit this toilet after this big barbecue. And so, unfortunately, he has to bite the bullet and go in first and then embarrassingly come back out. And I think that's about it.
You guys didn't stick around to see what the woman looked like when she came out after him?
She did, but the thing is that, remember, that was the only temperature controlled area that you could go. So it wasn't just us going there. Everybody was going there. Even the girls were doing the same thing. I remember that face like, oh God, like, whoa, wasn't me. It was, but she just went in there and did the same thing too. It was like everybody was just going. It was a single shooter, man. It was a single shooter, and the entire town was going to Jim's Smoking Q, smoking butts one way or the other. That was how it went, man.
Yeah, Crow was the guy at the party. You know, you're at the party, and the guy before you goes in the bathroom and poops, and then you go in. You know, you just got to pee. Then you come back out, and there's a girl standing there ready to go in next. And you're like, I swear it wasn't me. I'm not the poop guy. And then forever you're labeled as the poop guy at the party.
Well, Crow pointed at me and was like, it was that guy with the trash hat on. It was that
guy with the trash hat on. That's at that point you turn the hat around and said hiker, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? It says hiker. It says hiker. Hiker.
So I think we kind of settled on a plan at the barbecue place, but then we went to execute the plan. We drove back up to where we had a couple vehicles parked. What was that? Hogpen Gap? Or no,
Hogpen Gap. Yeah.
Hogpen Gap. We drove up to this gap, and we thought that we could just hike into a shelter, but we got 2,000 feet, 2,500 feet, 3,000 feet. Slowly got up there, creeping up, and oh yeah, Mountain Wanderer tie-dye. I can't even imagine the collective odor assault within those walls. Yeah, yeah, we stunk in the vehicle too. Yeah, it was bad. So we got up there, and Metro got there first. Me and Jason pulled up, and Metro was just standing out in the parking lot with his hands in the air in a cloud again. You know, we're soaking wet, and everything that we have is
man.
wet, and we are parking back in a cloud, and we have to hike up like 300 or 400 feet, even
Mhm.
deeper into the cloud to go to the shelter. So I get out, and I'm like, guys, I think that we're gonna have to find a new plan. I just can't. I don't think I can sleep in this hammock. It's wet, and I'm gonna be wet in the cloud again, and I'm afraid I'll get cold. So we go try to figure out a plan
So
again.
is hypothermia a bad idea?
I think it's a
Yeah.
terrible,
Okay, just
terrible
checking.
idea.
Just
But I'll
checking.
tell you who had a great idea was Taylor. Taylor's driving this little Ford Ranger, this little 99 Ranger. And I said, oh, yeah, I love those. I used to have me one. But the thing is, the AC broke in it. I said, but the heat will run you out. And Taylor said, yeah, the heat in that thing will burn you up, son. He said, do you want to put your underquilt and your hammock and your top quilt in my truck and turn the heat on full blast and let it dry out some? I said, dude, I've never heard a better idea in my entire life.
That's
So
incredible.
he, genius, genius. So I went over there with him. We started that vehicle up, turned the heat on full blast, and spread all my stuff out in there and let that sucker dry out. And we were there for like 30 minutes. What do you got there? What is that,
Waterloo.
tangerine?
Waterloo.
Oh,
Good.
Waterloo.
I got the
So,
polar going on myself.
oh, y'all are matching twinsies. So we had to come up with a new plan. What was the new plan? I think we were headed back down to the mountain and try to
Yep.
park on the side of the road.
Yeah. So we went down the hill the opposite way, which I did a Cherokee Trail or something like that. I've never even heard of it before. And we're like, oh, there's some camp spots over there. We get down there, and it looked like a local honey hole where some people would go. Maybe there was a bushwhacking trail to get to wherever it was. But we had like a stream of cars on the side of the road.
5
I've
cars.
never been there. So we flipped around and said, I know a spot. There might be some people there, but I know a secret spot or like a spot where people don't really go called Ravencliff Falls. But if you go past the parking lot, they've got some spots that we can go kind of hiking a little bit and set up a nice little camp that you'll have running water, nice flat area. But there's lots of bears. I mean, active bears rolling through camp. So, but because people leave a lot of stuff out there, but it's cool. I mean, as long as you're willing to take the risk. And everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. So we roll down to this spot and we found the best spot that was right next to the stream at the very end by the dead end. Some people will cross that stream and go up, but we set up a camp there and we had this whole entire area to ourselves, and it was incredible. In fact, segueing into you guys built an incredible fire that we had at this huge
Oh,
campsite immediately
thank
afterward because of Taylor, and you guys went and got all the stuff we needed with just throw it in the back of the truck, and then we had a great fire. You had a great fire setting skills that you put the fire together. It was nice.
Thanks, Metro. Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, Taylor, dude, why don't we go get some firewood? There's a Metro's like there's a gas station 15 minutes away. You just need, turn here, here, and here, and you'll be there. I was like, all right, Taylor, you want to go? And he's like, yeah. So we hopped in the Ranger, kept the heat on full blast because, dude, it was literally 45 degrees and still raining.
Oh man.
So we hopped in the truck, drove to the gas station, and we bought 6 big bags of firewood, brought them back. I wish we bought 12.
Yep.
We brought those back, built us a big fire, dried everything out. Metro, that picture or that video that you got of your like you got the logo in the background right there behind you. Yeah.
That's
So you
actually
have,
it.
oh, that's it? Okay.
That's
Yeah,
the ground sheet. Yeah.
you were
It's
holding
my
it.
that's the welcome mat. I use it on trail and at home, but it smells like a campfire because I tried it up over it. I didn't wash it off, and it stinks like a campfire in here. It's awesome.
Well, he was drying it out over the campfire, and that was so cool because you could see like the smoky mist coming off of it with you in the background holding it. I was like, that is sick. John,
Did
what
anyone
did
get video of that?
yeah, I think didn't you have Crow to take a video of it?
Yeah, I got it on video, but I haven't done the editing yet. but it's on the agenda.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll put it in a clip.
what did we had Ben on here, and he's the one that prints those welcome mats. But what was
Yep.
that one really good idea? Was it bear napkin?
Yeah, the bear napkin.
The bear napkin. Okay, yeah, because you leave a napkin outside the tent for the bear to wipe his mouth off with after he eats you. Yeah, pat the mouth dry. So we just hung out there around the fire, swapped stories, had a great time. You know, just hanging out. And then Sunday morning, it was, dude, Jason stopped, got coffee, terrible coffee. Well, first we went to Starbucks. There was a huge line, and we were trying to get home, you know, because we had several hours of driving. So we drove to a Dunkin' Donuts in a trail town right next to, you know, where we were leaving from. Terrible coffee. Jason stops at another gas station, presses the French vanilla, gives him hot chocolate. I was like, dude, you're 0 for 3 on the coffee. So we just drank terrible coffee and drove home after that.
This
Dried
is
everything.
one of those trips that becomes, instead of being just a backpacking trip, it ends up being like a backpacking car camping hybrid, where
Fun
it's
to-
like you don't do big miles, you still kind of live primitive when you're out at the campsite, but it just doesn't work the way you thought it was going to. I've been part of those trips, but they end up being so much fun.
So I had a poop story about Ravencliff Falls that I was going to share, but I thought of another one. If we have enough time, I'll tell the poop story at Ravencliff Falls. But this one is the best poop story that I think anybody has ever heard, and I wanted to tell it on this podcast. You guys ready?
Oh, we've had some good ones. We've had some good ones. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So it was my wife and I, and we were at Unicoi Gap on the AT, and we came up to Rocky Mountain, and we're coming down the backside going towards Indian Grave, and we hadn't seen anybody. And it's Unicoi up to Rocky Mountain is not an easy hike. If you're up there, it was hot. It was not an easy hike, so we didn't see anybody. And all of a sudden, I almost stepped in this bee's nest, and I was like, or a wasp nest or whatever's on the trail. So I put an X on it and went around, and I was like, oh, that was crazy. And then out of nowhere, I ran into this lady, and I got really startled. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, I gotta tell her. I was like, hey lady, you got to be very careful. There's a wasp nest on the trail, so there's an X there. So make sure you go around it so you don't step. And she was, oh, okay. Thanks a lot. I gotta go. Bye. And she took off. I was like, wait a minute. Why is she in such a hurry? My wife's like, I don't know. That was really awkward. Maybe she doesn't like seeing people. Maybe she likes to hike solo, but not run into people. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe we startled her. I was like, okay, that's fine. She's just scared, whatever. So she takes off. Like, she doesn't even looking back at all. And I was like, that's kind of just awkward. So anyway, walk a little bit further down, and my wife screams, oh my God, there is a bear over here. I was like, oh my God, really? Where? Is it where? Are you okay? She was all like, yes, but look at the size of this turd. It is huge. It is the biggest turd I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty huge turd. But no, I couldn't tell at first because it was like bright orange, like chopped up carrots almost, like just like a big pile. I was like, where would the bear get all these carrots from? I was like, that is so strange. And then I started looking around. My wife's like, there's a bear out here. We need to go. So she's hauling off. I was like, honey, listen, it's not a bear. She was like, how do you know? Have you ever seen a pile of crap that big before? I mean, look at it. And I was like, yeah, but look around. She was like, well, what am I looking at? I was like, unless it's the Charmin bear, that's human poop. And if you put the dots together, it was that old lady that just ran down the trail because we just ran up on her. I mean, it was just steps away from where she was at, and we had walked up on her mid poop because it was so like she was on it, and then she saw us, and she tried to get away from it as fast as she could. That's why she was so startled. And to this day, I thought that was the most hilarious poop story I've ever seen because it includes bears and people and the trail. So it's just like, that's the best poop story ever.
That's a trifecta.
That is absolutely fantastic. You're right. That ranks way up there. That almost eclipses the Jeff Garmire running down the mountain it pooping in his pants and running by old ladies. So
That's
Yeah.
up there. That's
yeah,
almost same category. The same
yeah,
category. Now,
yeah.
what would have made it number one is if I actually would have walked up on her to see the
Oh, in
reaction.
the middle of the act, she just
Gosh.
pulls up her pants and just takes off running.
Oh
Oh,
my
because it was
gosh.
on trail, so she literally had to have just dropped it right there, like, oh, too many carrots, oh, too much fiber.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, man, it's that time, and we need to let people know where they can find you online. So why don't you tell everybody how they can find you on your Insta, your YouTube, and all the fun stuff?
Yep. So I am Metro on the Move, just one word. Just put that basically behind youtube.com/Metro on the Move. You'll find all things backpacking throughout the Southeast and beyond, gear reviews and all that fun stuff, lots of shorts and things of that nature. But I'm
How
also
to
on
destroy a
Instagram.
computer.
Yep.
Yeah, all kinds of wild stuff.
And I'm also on Instagram at Metro on the Move. That is my handle. I put out some pictures of random stuff, but I like to share stories of funny stuff as well. So I don't just put hiking stuff out there. I like to just put it all out there and have fun. What you see is what you get, guys. So it is the same on video in person. It doesn't stop. I don't know how to turn it off. So Metro on the Move. Make sure you guys check it out. Love to hear from you guys. Put a comment down below. Ask questions. I'll go ahead and respond to those later on as well.
Metro, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I knew this was gonna be like this. I knew that we were gonna sit here and laugh for like 45 straight minutes of the hour. I knew it was gonna happen, man. You're hilarious. The stories are great. We need to have you back on. Can you promise us you'll do this again?
Yes, but I got to work on my internet signal. I got to call I got to call Metro from T-Mobile. Be like, yo, baby, my internet ain't working. Give me that extra fiber. I need some more fiber, not that carrot fiber though.
Well, hey man, do me a favor and hang out in the green room. We're gonna come back and talk to you here in just a couple minutes while we shut things down for the night. So thanks a lot, man. You are awesome.
Later. Thank you.
Oh
God,
man, he is
have fun
fantastic.
baking with him.
That was a good call on you, man. That's a good call. So hey, we told you at the beginning of this whole thing, all of you who are listening and all of you who are watching right now, we told you if you stuck around to the end, we'd have a little something for you. And we're gonna tell you guys, I've pulled it right in front of me, and I'm gonna read exactly what Jeff Garmire said that Jeremiah has to do on the show next week. So here it is. Jeremiah, according to Jeff Garmire, because you weren't able to have merch in time for his appearance on the show last week.
Yeah.
Next, this is fantastic. Next week, you have to wear a dress like he does when he goes running. So you have to wear a dress and write a formal apology to all your fans because you have no merch and read that online.
A formal apology
for not having any merch. So that has to happen next week, man.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Like I don't know what else to do. Like, but I'm
there
just
has
a messenger.
To be consequences for your action.
Oh man.
So that means that our usual podcast listeners, they need to check out the video version of the show next week. Is that what you're saying?
I may have to do some screen grabs too, because I mean this is gonna be too good. You might need to like, take some photo. Have Bridget take a few photos too. Maybe you guys could wear matching dresses. I don't know. We can do something. It'll be fun. But
wow, what a fun show, man! That was great.
I know, man. I know he is fantastic. And we got such. I wish we could have thrown all these comments up on the screen because there were tons of them going on the whole night. If you want to have fun rewatching this, if you are listening right now, you can go onto our YouTube channel, the Backpacking Podcast, and actually check these comments out if you rewatch the podcast, and you're going to be rolling with some of the stuff that's going on there. Great time tonight, man. Cannot wait for next week. It's going to be a good one. Folks, don't miss it. Jeremiah's going to look pretty. I'm just going to wait. I'm not saying anything else. Well, for myself and Jeremiah, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Adios, folks.